This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. So we've been following reporting in the Guardian newspaper, and this is reference to a leading Western journalist who's long had a reputation for being one of Germany's top independent experts on Russia. Stories come out that he's received 600,000 euros in payments. The payments, which were undisclosed, came from companies linked to a Russian businessman and superyacht owner close to Vladimir Putin, linked files have revealed. Now, the journalist that's been reported here, his name is Hubert Seipel. He's an award-winning filmmaker and author, and it turns out he was paid money in installments, which documents suggest was to support his work on two books he wrote to chart Putin's rise to power and offer portrayals described by many as sympathetic to the Russian president. He's one of the few journalists anywhere to have had direct and regular contact with the Russian leader. Seipel, who by his own admission has met Putin almost 100 times, has acknowledged receiving money from accounts linked to the oligarch Alexei Mordashov, a steel and banking magnate placed under sanctions last year for his close ties to the Kremlin. The information in the newspaper article came from the Cyprus Confidential project, which is kind of like the Panama Papers, if you know what that is. It's a cache of 3.5 million records leaked to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists and Germany's paper Trail Media. They shared access with The Guardian, and that's how they came up with this reporting. Now, the documents contain details of payments totaling 600,000 euros, which appear to be connected to the second book. Seipel wrote two books about Vladimir Putin. This was supposedly connected to the second book. Now, Seipel confirmed he'd received support from Mordashov, saying his support relates exclusively to the book projects. He stressed he had remained impartial, saying, "I always set clear legal boundaries that guaranteed my independence." Now, who is Alexei Mordashov, Putin's ally, as he's referred to in the Guardian newspaper? He owns Motor Yacht Nord. It's that massive 142-meter yacht that fled to Vladivostok at the outbreak of the war in Ukraine and has been trying to hide their location ever since, when in waters most likely considered unfriendly. You know, we've been tracking the vessel switching off AIS whenever it suits the crew. So the yacht was last seen in Abu Dhabi about a week ago. He also owns Motor Yacht Lady M, a 65-meter yacht arrested in Imperia in Italy in 2022, which has been held there ever since. We've done a number of videos on that subject. The EU described Mordashov in its sanctions press release and notice as one of Putin's elite who was benefiting from his links with Russian decision makers. He was the largest shareholder in TUI, Europe's biggest tour operator, an investment currently frozen because of the sanctions. The Cyprus files include an agreement titled Deed of Sponsorship, signed in March 2018 by Seipel and by a director of a British Virgin Islands registered company called Divere Worldwide Corporation. The documents from this time period list the ultimate owner of Divere as a high-ranking manager in Mordashov's Sevastopol group. So a few things to take away from this story. One of them is payments limit impartiality. Anyone claiming to be independent whilst receiving payments from the person they are writing about or people close to the person they're writing about is most likely to be compromised, even if they don't believe they are themselves. Writing something negative about someone who's given you money, even if you do write that negative thing, you're most likely going to put it in the most positive way you can because you know that they're paying you money, right? Another thing that's important to take from this is the hidden ownership aspect of that story. We often talk about yachts that are owned by these companies, often registered in the British Virgin Islands, as in this case, and where they very often, the yacht owner will say that they don't own the vessel. Now, we often get lawyers' letters saying the yacht is not owned by a person that we've mentioned in a previous video. But this is a clear example of how that ownership can be hidden, and then lawyers can take advantage of the fact that the person's name is not listed anywhere, even though the person is clearly calling the shots. In this case, the report suggests that the owner of the company making the payments to Seipel was an employee working in one of Mordashov's companies. So Mordashov's name is not listed anywhere in that company, but he is ultimately in charge of that person who's making those payments. And in this case, Seipel admitted that he was working with Mordashov. So, that proves that Mordashov is in control of that company, regardless of the fact that his name is not on that list. The journalist Seipel initially denied receiving the payments, but later admitted to it. And the book publisher, which he already had a contract with, didn't know about the payments. And the deed that resulted in the payments stated he was free to work independently. However, knowing what you know now, would you trust the book to be independent and unbiased? Okay, we'll move on to the next story. So we've got some footage here of the first Amels 80 model arriving in the Netherlands, ready for outfitting. As you might expect, the yacht is an 80 metre Amels 80, which is 261 feet, and it's the first of a kind built by Amels, and should be able to accommodate 14 guests and 20 crew. Amels say this yacht is future-proof and will be built with sustainable materials and leverage the most suitable and innovative hybrid technology available today. Now, the vessel is 2,175 gross tons and features the largest top deck in her class, as well as an impressive beach club, and she offers everything from an 80-metre yacht and more. That's another quote from Amels. The yacht is scheduled to be completed in 2025. All right, so it's that time of year when super yachts are heading out of Europe looking for sunnier climates. Gone is the weather in the Med, and most yachts are heading west. As you can see from this AAS data in the Atlantic looks rather busy right now. Now, vessels in pink are pleasure craft or motor yachts, sailing yachts. And as you can see, they are mostly heading in the western direction towards the Caribbean. Now, most vessels will refuel in Gibraltar before starting the approximately 3,400 nautical mile journey across the ocean. Not only will they refuel in Gibraltar, but they'll also stock up on food. And Gibraltar is a very popular place because the English supermarkets there, as many of the crew are British, and it's a great place to get all the favourite British things, you know, that are brought straight in there from the UK. But it's incredible to see so many yachts seemingly filling up the Atlantic Ocean, all heading in the same direction. Of course, if you were there on one of those boats, it would not look like that to you. You probably would not see another yacht in the entire crossing, and probably only see another vessel of any kind, very occasionally at best. I mean, this is going from my own experience. In fact, if you want to see what it's like to do a crossing of the Atlantic, join us on the Patreon channel and you can watch the 10-part vlog filmed on board a super yacht. All right, so we'll move on. We've got a YotSpot here. It's one of the Eastman Sea Dogs, Troy from City Center Yachts in Miami. Spotted motor yacht Savannah. This is in Pier 66 in Florida. Now, the yacht is an 83.5 meter, which is 274 foot yacht built in 2015 by Fedship. 2,300 gross tons, a top speed of 17 knots. Carries 12 guests and a crew of about 22. And the original price was about $140 million. As you can see the footage here, there's some people in the pool, but all of the furniture is covered in canvas, which suggests that it's actually the crew using the pool here. They'd never have guests on board and have the canvas covers over the furniture like that. So I guess it's some downtime for the crew. Nothing wrong with that, I suppose, if they have permission from the owner to use it. The owner of Savannah died last year in 2022. The yacht was at the Monaco Yacht Show for sale, being put up for sale by the family. And we believe the yacht is still currently for sale. It's listed on the Wyco website, and it's saying that you can contact them for a price. And in fact, where this boat is docked, Pier 66 is actually owned by Joe Lewis, the owner of Motor Yacht Aviva. He apparently purchased the property as he wanted to control access to the berths, so he could dock his yacht whenever he wanted to. All right, just FYI, we've got a new email address for YotSpot submissions. I'll put it in the ticker here. It's YotSpot, YOTSPOT @esysman.co.uk. We get so many of them, it just makes it easier for us to be able to filter them into a folder, so they just inundate our inboxes. So if you can send future stuff via WeTransfer.com to YotSpot @esysman.co.uk, that would be great. What I'm going to be doing in this series of vlogs is recording the journey across the Atlantic. Now, as mentioned, if you want to see the 10-part vlog filmed on board a yacht I was on crossing the Atlantic and beyond, sign up to patreon.com/esysman. You'll find behind the scenes videos and extras not published on YouTube, including behind the scenes videos from our recent trip to Italy, Monaco and France. We also recently made a video showing how we make the Super Yacht News videos, as well as the patron chat series and the patron only Q&A series. And our latest Q&A is live on the Patreon channel right now. That's Q&A 3. You'll get early access to YouTube features, advert free even. If you've got any information about any of the stories or any other stories, please be sure to get in touch. You can get us in the address, in the ticker below. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel, on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, on Twitter, and on Threema. Be sure to like this video, very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.